This is Byron and Nicole White, and you are tuned in to episode 56 of The Real Word. Word is up. Are we good? Are we good?
Delayed.
It's all delayed. All right. Well, we're going to run through it. This is Instagram Live, our first ever Instagram Live for The Real Word. We've got 3 rackets for you. And let's get right into it, Nicole. Or do you want to do the Happy New Year thing? Do you want to do that first and then get into it? Or do you just want to get into it?
So Happy New Year? Yay!
Happy New Year.
Good. Yeah, Happy New Year, Byron.
You look excited. All right. Racket number 1. And this was on the Inman Weekender. We'll link that up as we always do. It says racket number 1 on your list.
I don't have that.
Agent-centric. Is agent-centric the wrong brokerage approach? Meaning, you know, a lot of brokerages, ours included, will say that the agent is their client. This was written by an independent broker who says she only focuses on, not only, I should refrain that, but her focus is on the the client, not the agent. Is this a racket? Which approach from a brokerage perspective is the right one?
Well, I agree with exactly what she's saying in this article, because she's talking about the fact that it's always about the client and the client experience. And if you're concentrating too much on the agent, then you're not concentrating on the client, like their experience. She also actually talks about liability here too, because regardless of who's actually heading the transaction, the broker is always the one that's liable. So I feel like I need to give her a big high five, because she's definitely paddling against the norm here in this article. And she even references the fact that at all the Inmans that she's been to in the last year, everyone that's up there has been talking about the fact that, oh, now you switched your thing. Now I'm looking at what's going on. You get bored
Keep
looking
going.
at me? What happened?
No, keep going.
Well, she was just talking about the fact that she was even surprised to hear that these big box brokerages were even, you know, sort of screaming to the people that it is an agent-centric industry. So I think that traditionally it's always been that way. I think it's probably a great way to keep your agents to keep them there, to keep, stay, right? Like if you know that your sort of boss or owner or sort of broker is about you and helping you, then of course you're going to want to stay, because that's what you want to hear.
Right.
But obviously our job is to make sure our client is well taken care of. But also she was even talking about the fact that, you know, if you have multiple locations, that your client is getting the same type of experience regardless of where they're at. And I think that's obviously the most important thing as well. So I think it's a fabulous article.
To your point, the client always has to come first, but I'm calling this a racket. Because it's a total racket. If you don't take care, well, number one, a brokerage is a business. You have to remember that. So it's a business and it needs cash all the time, or it will not survive. So if you don't run your business that way, it's going to be very difficult to help clients. And I think pouring back into agents is the right approach. So I think that this is a racket, because if you don't have agents that understand how to serve the client, have the tools necessary to serve the client, if you focus on tools, you're going to lose. So you have to build up the agent, their brand, their skills, all of that stuff.
I don't know. I think though part of it comes down to the tools that you're giving your agent will obviously benefit your client. So if you're always thinking about sort of the client,
exactly,
but then you sort of back into the agent, then how can the agent fulfill that for the client? So
agree with you. That's exactly how you get there.
Let's make sure that this is really easy for the agent to use in terms of a platform. Like it should be about what does the client need, and then sort of backing yourself into then how can the agent obtain that for the client. But so I mean it's super mixed, but I'll let you finish your thought. I mean,
no, I'm 100% there. You're going to back into what you're going to pour into your agents off of the client needs. Absolutely. But if you're not pouring your energy and your resources into the agents,
right,
then they will be not giving the best service they possibly can to every client that they come in contact with. So let's move on. Racket number 2. You know, the Rackets, they feel much better down here in Naples, Florida, by the way, Nicole. I just figured I'd throw that in. But racket number 2, Zillow removes client data from a specific contract. And so what they're referring to here, we're going to link this up as we always do. This is an Inman article. This is from the broker program, the flex pricing program. We've talked about the flex pricing program on the Real Word before. And essentially Zillow was asking if they were to buy one of the Zillow houses, they would ask you to upload all of the data, the client information, into a spreadsheet or into Dotloop, which is of course owned by Zillow. They've now removed that, and one broker told Inman, it seems likely this runs directly counter to realtors' requirements for confidentiality. Nicole, I'll ask you over there in what looks to be warm Connecticut, your opinion. Is this a racket or not?
I don't think this is a racket. I guess I'm even surprised that this was even included in there. I guess I get probably why they wanted all the information, because I didn't read in this article that it was their homes. Did I miss that line? Did I miss that? I did.
No,
I just didn't read it properly because
when they sell a home through this program. So whether the buyer came from Zillow or not, they're asking them to provide both sides of that transaction, and that buyer potentially didn't come through Zillow. They could have been a referral or whatever. So you're sharing information that Zillow didn't originally have,
right?
Which is the confidentiality issue.
Right. So I'm actually surprised that that was even in the contract to begin with. So I guess I think Zillow's doing the right thing here. So I don't find this to be a racket.
And if you actually open up the article, for anybody that's listening or watching, and you go down to the comments, comment number 2, Rama says that HomeLight is doing the same thing. So what does HomeLight know that Zillow knows, that all these places know? They know that getting closer to the client, getting closer to the consumer. So to Nicole's point in racket number 1, people that can serve the client, the customer the best, have the information, have the access, are going to win. So they're just fighting for more information.
Well, in that description, I mean, it looks like HomeLight is actually looking for all of her sales data.
They want to go back
and that's
to
the only
sales
way
that
they'll
weren't even
actually
included. Yeah.
And that's the only way that she'll get leads. I mean,
right.
that's a racket.
That's a total
that's
racket.
Crazy.
All right.
Yeah.
Racket number 3. This one Nicole sent to me while when I was down here on break. And where did you find this one, Nicole? Where is this? Where does this article come from?
Obnoxious. So this one I actually saw on, I think it was the Today Show. What?
Are we going to tell them what it is? Give them the title and then go from there.
It's the Los Angeles man posed as a realtor to swipe millions in luxury goods. I watched it again. I think it was on the Today Show, or I'm usually a Today Show girl, so I think that I saw it on the Today Show. And then
Who's the Today Show, people? Who does the Today Show?
I do the Today Show. Oh, we should do that. Is that
you're hosting? That would be a racket. Who's the host of the Today Show? Yeah.
Oh, there's 2 girls.
You don't
I'm
know
a Matt Lauer.
Right.
I was a Matt Lauer fan. So
moving on.
I'm still getting used to so anyway, so this guy actually pretended to be a real estate agent to get inside of, I mean, it sounded like he was actually getting into some like famous, like movie star homes too, and then swiping their stuff. It sounds like the police were actually most surprised because he had really expensive wine. Like, it sounds like he was sort of like a wine lover.
Ooh, nice.
But anyway, so he was posing as a realtor to get into these homes. I don't know if he was stealing them while he was like on like a showing, or if he was like getting in there to like, sort of, what do they call that? Scope the scene. Is that what it is? Scope it. And then going back later to steal, but case it. Yeah. Thank you. But again, I thought that it was super interesting because I feel like it is a little bit of a risk, I mean, through our MLS, we do have a showing time, so we could, actually see the agent that is requesting the showing. But there's been times where I've had agents just call me And if I mean, I don't necessarily know every single agent in the entire state of Connecticut. So,
Not yet.
definitely not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Here's what's not a racket is that clients, agents need to understand when there's a lot of questions coming from a listing agent, it's because of situations like this. There are reasons there is a lot of information from a buyer that is needed before a door gets opened. Because who's coming into my house from a seller's perspective, right? An owner's perspective. Who's coming in my house? Have you Google searched them? What do you know about them? What can you tell me? What insider information do you have about them? These are important things, and these may come off as a waste of your time if you're a buyer or a buyer's agent to answer these questions. But if I'm a listing agent, I'm asking them, and if they're not answered, the showing does not happen. So I don't think, you know, but do I think this particular article is a racket? This guy's an obvious scumbag, and I don't know if it's a racket, but he was running some type of a racket for sure.
Well, if anything, I mean, he saw an opening and he took it. I mean, yeah. He saw, or you know, I mean,
you've got to have your guard up as a professional real estate agent if you're listing property at any level, luxury level. I don't care the price tag.
Right.
These are people's homes, their belongings. Make sure you know who's coming into the house. Make sure you know the agent that's bringing people in, right? You get the same agent in the marketplace that does all the deals. You know they vet out their buyers. You don't have to vet them out every single time. You know who they are. But if it's a new agent or a new buyer, got to do your homework.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's for
sure. This guy looks creepy anyway. Wearing like a hoodie and shit. Like hopefully he wasn't wearing that on his showings.
Does he look as creepy as me under this umbrella or?
No. No.
No.
I don't know. He's got like a black eye, but
yeah,
I think he got too sun.
Total creep all set. This is not sun, by the way. I do want to make that clear. This is this orange umbrella that is above me. I am not down here tanning. So I'm still just as untanned as I've ever been. So we'll be back. Monday I'll be in Connecticut. We'll be doing a Real Word proper style next week.
I don't know, but we got our buddy over here. He wants his sexual. I'm blanking on his. Is it Jim? Is it Jim? Is that?
I can't see. I can't see anything, so I can't see these comments.
What's wrong with you?
Literally
he
can't
wants us
see
to do
anything.
the Real Word like this every time.
Every time? No.
Every time.
We'll see how this one goes, and then.
We could do it this way, and you could just be sitting next to me, and we could just be like.
If you haven't followed, we're doing this on the Rackets, the at the Rackets on Instagram. So if you haven't followed us there on IG, we got all our short videos up there. Obviously, if you like this video, thumbs it up and subscribe on YouTube. I think that's it. Give us a 5-star on Apple. Everything else
hopefully,
you can possibly
you don't sweat too much today, Byron.
Oh, I'm going right back inside. Keep it real.
To the air conditioning.
To the AC. Keep it real, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.